Somebody needs to let Larry in.
This morning with public comment. Want to be crystal clear, it's on today's agenda. Any comment from the public? Anyone like to
Happy New Year to all of you all. And, last meeting's agenda.
It's on this agenda.
Well,
Let me be very clear, Mr. Phillips. Public comment is on today's agenda.
a couple things. One question I have.
Okay, let me explain this.
I heard you start. Very well.
Okay, well, let me just say this before we get started. We're only going to comment on today's agenda. If you would like to address the board on anything, other issue except for today's agenda, we have a process for that.
Well,
We went over that at the last meeting.
Correct.
So if you would like to comment on today's
let me preface.
agenda items, please do so.
Let me preface. If it would have been an early agenda getting out, then I could have sent something in. The agenda comes out just at the nick of time.
Mr.
So,
Phillips,
what
Reverend Phillips, excuse me. This agenda was out last week because we had to postpone the meeting. So that's a bunch of baloney. Okay, you've had a week, you could have put it in order.
The
You
agenda's
had a
out
month.
a week ahead of time. That's what you're telling me?
It was this time.
Thank you.
I mean,
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
Well, I didn't know it
well,
wasn't
you
posted
did know it, but
properly.
you said
No, I
talking to me
didn't
like,
know
okay, but
it.
you were charging me as though you
I'm
didn't
not
know.
going to argue with you. I thought we posted it.
Well,
I
you
didn't
thought
know.
wrong.
I
Then you
made a
insulted
mistake.
me by giving me a disrespect.
Okay, I'm not going to do this banter with you. I made a mistake. I apologize. I thought we posted the agenda. So here's the agenda. Would you like to comment on the agenda?
Well, you never gave me a chance to tell me what's supposed to be. You kept throwing this in my face.
I just told you I didn't know until Sandy told me.
But I was going to tell you.
What's your point?
Well, because when it was posted, there's some things that I would have probably submitted on that should have been on the agenda that's not on the agenda. And that's what I'm saying.
Well,
So,
but you don't submit.
I don't know unless it's on the agenda.
Okay, let's just go. What do you want to talk about?
Well, let me just
What do you
say,
want to make your comments about?
here's on the
And
agenda.
would you please just, thank you.
Here's what's on the agenda, and what I'm looking for is why the insurance hike or the premium hike?
Why do we have an insurance hike?
Yeah, it's on the agenda.
Well, that is on the agenda, and the insurance company did raise our rates.
No reason?
Of course there's a reason. Why do you think? Really? You don't know that?
No, ma'am.
Are you kidding me?
I'm asking.
Because of the numerous lawsuits.
Okay, well, that's what you have to ask. I asked the question.
Well, I know you're aware of all the lawsuits that
But
Mr. Burns
Ms.
filed
Steinkamp,
one.
I asked a very simple question.
That's
Okay.
why they raised our rates.
The other thing is, we have budgeting for more new computers, plural, and how much money are we talking?
Mr. Phillips, you have a right to make a comment. You don't have the right to quiz the board.
No, I'm not quizzing, I'm asking.
You ask for a question, that's quizzing. You may ask a question, but there's no obligation on the part of the board until they get to that item to deal with.
Okay, but I was ready to see it, so I'm just trying to get the information beforehand.
It doesn't work that way. You can
So
comment
what
on
you're
it.
saying is the board can not answer me and then talk on something that I don't have information on.
That's correct.
Well, we need to maybe move the public comments to the back of it.
That's another comment that you can make. That's for the consideration of the board.
Okay, well, I may, because I mean, this is not in compliance. If you're gonna talk about something that we can't talk about, and we can ask questions before you talk about it, how are we gonna know?
I'm sure the board will deal with that issue when it comes up.
Okay, well, let me just give you two items that I thought, the Wade Shaw's firm and the IG. Neither one of these are on the agenda. I'm quite sure these are pertinent items for discussion.
They are not on the agenda as I see it, and so therefore, there's nothing to comment on other than what you just said.
Will they be on the agenda? That's that.
You don't have the right to quiz the board. You have the right to make any comments that you want.
So I can make a suggestion that they be added to the agenda next week.
Write a letter, there's a procedure for doing that, you may do that.
I'm just asking. because I try to always comply with the conformity of the board by asking for information, and I got it.
I'm not aware of any public records requests that you've made that we have not fulfilled.
No, why I say you can say that as a board member, I always ask that the information be provided prior to.
You're not a board member. You're not a board member.
I said as I was a board member, I asked for these things, and still was not getting the information to know what the agenda entails until the last minute. So how are we going in?
The agenda was posted in accordance with state law.
So
If
we
you have a problem with that, I think you need to take that up with the legislature.
okay, well maybe that's what we need to do.
That would be a good idea.
And that would be your recommendation.
If you don't believe that it needs to be changed, I'd suggest that you consider talking to the legislature.
That's no problem, Mr. Mason. I appreciate that advice. We'll be taking consideration. I apologize that I offended you. I was just trying to get some information.
You didn't offend me at all, and I apologize to you because I made a mistake. I thought the agenda was posted. Thank you. Anyone else?
No. I know you're shocked, but no.